Hey, lovely, lovely, wonderful, beautiful people, handsome men. A pleasant evening to everybody. Now, I saw something that just warmed my heart. And if we could just get back to that basic, that courtesy, that compassionate move, that move of mercy, and that move of humility predominantly or primarily, and that is called an apology. Now, I noticed the Jamaica Constabulary Force issued an apology for the mistake that they made in terms of the confusion with the man, the wanted man, and another citizen. I mean, there is some level of resemblance, which, I mean, the skin tone is slightly different, and the full features, they are somewhat different, but it's just the eye section that seems similar, and it could have created a number of problems. It could cause people to think that that fellow is an annihilator. You can't use certain words on TikTok, and you don't want them to think that the person is somebody who gets rid of people, especially when that is not the case. Because these days the human brain is so negative. It has been that way from the beginning of time, and it is even more pronounced. So as soon as somebody hears something negative, they are quick to believe it, because we just live in a negative world. And sometimes it satisfies their own not just lusts, but their own weaknesses. They feel good to know that they're not the only ones with that type of weakness or something similar. So they have no qualms in thinking the worst about anybody. They have no qualms in, as they hear it, they believe it. And it is very difficult to get it out of people's system. So even when the truth comes out, sometimes people wonder and still look, in the back of their minds, subliminally, I wonder if, really this man or this woman is this, that, and the third that they have accused, him or her to be. And we keep forgetting that there is a scripture that says this, although it actually goes for the child of God. Blessed are, I think it is Matthew chapter 5, verse 11, somewhere there. You can check it out. Blessed are you when men shall revile you, meaning they are heavily critical of you, heavily in the worst manner. They shall revile you and persecute you, and shall say all manner of evil against you falsely. Please remember that, people. Look at the mother with the 9-year-old. She was accused falsely. They should follow the Jamaica Constabulary Force and issue an apology to the mother, because it could make people look at her as an abusive woman, a narcissistic, uneducated person who with no sensibility, and who could destroy the physiological makeup or the physical makeup of her child under false information, misinformation. We have to be so careful, And I'm glad that the Jamaica Constabulary, because it's a serious matter. He could have been accused on something that is in the top 3 as it relates to something criminal, and could have destroyed his life completely. Could destroy his life. And you can imagine how the poor fella, you've seen him on TV having to defend himself. It's a serious, serious thing. And I can understand and I appreciate the fact that, this new commissioner has set the tone, and other people, I'm not saying that nobody else has done that, but this new commissioner has set the tone in which, if they see that they're wrong, they will issue an apology, especially on a serious matter like that. And I was so moved. I feel good. People, whether you think it is real or not, they never had to do that. And they did that. They don't even wait for any backlash, or they don't wait for anything, because they realize that a lot of misinformation is going around. I would love to see the powers that be, let me put it that way, who did that to the mother, come out and issue an apology as well for that, because that does not feel good. And I mean, one of the things that people don't, there is power in apology. You know, sometimes it's not that people don't forgive people. Sometimes, I use the word sometimes, it is not that they don't forgive. It's like it's hard to go over the threshold when the person does not issue an apology for the wrongs they do to you. So you'll forgive them. I mean, you may not have that bitterness, you may not have that resentment, you know, you may not have hate, you know, or malice in your heart towards them, but it's like there is a disconnect. So a piece of the puzzle is missing, and you know it is the puzzle of humility, the puzzle of pious, the puzzle of an apology. And often I know what that feels like. I can tell you there are people who have done me great wrong without a cause. And I can tell you people, it just bothers me that they've allowed pride to not, and ego to not cause them to apologize to me. I know how it feels. And it's not a matter that I don't forgive them, but it's like, you know, you can't seem to close that chapter to 100%. You have to almost give a facade or pretend as though, you know, all is well. But you just said, I just want an apology. I just want an apology. You know? And sometimes you won't get it, and you just have to live with that reality, and you have to just move on. But if you were to ask somebody in the back of their mind subliminally, they would tell you, all I just really want is an apology, you know. If I'm able to just really get that, which we are, it's just that people choose not to. You know, there are many people who they owe so many apologies, it isn't funny. And all they need to do is pick that phone up. Do not even send a text or a voice note. Well, you probably can send a voice note, but don't send a text. Either you pick that phone up. If you feel a little too embarrassed, send a voice. Let them hear your voice. Let the voice be heard. And say, Toni-Ann, whomever, I'm sorry. I did you great wrong, and I'm sorry. There are some people who have done people great wrong, but they have done them great wrongs behind their back. They feel the person does not know, and you know, in their faces, in front of their faces, they act as though they're nice. But I can tell you, the people know. They know. They know. And my advice is the same. Send a voice note. Don't send a text. Send a voice note and apologize. You know you have done wrong. You know that you're uncomfortable. You can't face the person. You can't look at them. You can't build any form of... They're not looking for friendship. Yes, you're not... But you can't seem to build a good camaraderie. You know? Even a good... being a good associate. You can't even build that. Because you know what you have done. You know you're in the wrong. And you need to wipe that slate clean. That slate, you know, the slate is a blank. You need to allow it to be clean. Still apologize. Because they know. Not because they don't make you know. So everybody they're on the pretense game. And they're not really pretending. They're just being diplomatic because you have not, you know... Sometimes it's best to just leave the ansness where it is at. You know, and if they don't think it is necessary to stir it up, to come at you and to come to you, you are the one who did it. They never had an issue with you. You were the one. So many of you, you know you have done people wrong without a cause. You need to pick that phone up and call them preferably. If you really feel that scared, send a voice note, no text. And when you see them, you talk to them and say the apology as well. But Jamaica Constabulary Force, big up to you. You know, it's good when they see another side to the JCF, and commendations are certainly extended. High commendations are extended to the Commissioner and his team for really, you know, showing good leadership and, you know, causing the JCF to humble and to apologize. You know, I was really proud when I saw it online and then I watched it on the news. The people who did that to the mother of that 9-year-old need to do the same. I did it. You know, nobody's too big to apologize. Not one human being. I don't care who you want to be. Anyway, guys, you know what to do. Read TikTok and YouTube. Subscribe. Give me one of those likes.